Okay, we got a real simple knife here, and we're going to make a real simple wrap on this knife, and it's going to be nothing but 36 bank line. We're going to wrap this handle with. I need to pull a loop of it through one side here. Let's go ahead and pull it through the other side so you guys can see it. So I'm just putting a smaller diameter cordage through there and looping that through, and that'll pull this whole thing through just like that. And we're going to leave our tail on this other end to pull from, and we're going to wrap down to this loop. Okay, so once you've got your loops pulled through there, you're going to immediately come back around here and start your wrap right at this loop, and you can see our curve is right there. We're going to pull this really, really tight, and we're going to leave this tail out of the picture altogether, because that's going to be our tightening tail when we're done. But we got to make sure this loop goes past this last hole, and we want to make sure that every one of these wraps is good and tight against the one in front of it, and good and tight pull all the way around. And that's part of the reason I rounded these edges off on this handle area of this knife, was because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to cut the cordage by pulling on it really, really good and tight. And you're probably going to find when you're done with this that you'll have to use a piece of, or a pair of pliers probably, to pull on this tail to close this loop. I'll show you that here in just a minute as soon as I get this wrapped. Now when we get to that hole right there on this final wrap around, what we're going to want to do is we're going to take that smaller diameter cordage again and push it through that hole on this side to the other side. And then what we want to do is we want to pull this final cord through that loop like this, pull it down tight, and then work it through. Except this time we're going to pull the whole thing through. We're not going to leave a loop. Now this loop here drawn tight up is what's going to pull this knife handle together. And now we got to get a pair of pliers on this end. Now once we've got our loop pulled through here, we've got our loop here, what we're going to do is we're going to pull this loop out of this hole. We don't want to have to pull against that to tighten this up, because we'll cut the cord. Now we're going to come in here with a pair of pliers and grab a hold of that. Just like this, and pull that loop straight up. You see how it's moving there? And we're going to pull it straight up inside, just like that, about 5 or 6, about halfway through there like that. Then we can trim both of these off close and melt them with our lighter. Okay, pretty good shape there. Now we got a handle on this thing that we can hang on to. Now we just need to put it on a stone. Alright, so this is a piece of 1/2 inch sisal rope. It will cut. Okay, so here's our rope. Pretty clean cut. Not too shabby. Little joke there about it will cut from Forged in Fire, but I think that's a good show. Opinions vary. I enjoy watching guys make stuff out of nothing. And this camp knife is a pretty simple project you can make almost out of nothing.